Mangalam sadhu veshaya shishya chitta vilasine vidita kila vedyaya moksha vigna vighatine saumya Kashi nivasaya deshikaya viragine Chaitanyananda Rupaya Jivan Muktaya Mangalam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Freedom, Freedom, Freedom. Om Bolo Shri Sadgurudev Swami Shivananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Sadgurudev Swami Shivananda Maharaj Ki Jai.
Ich gehe noch einen Meter nach hinten und dann werden noch andere sich vorsetzen.
Om Namah Shivaya. We have a moment of reorganizing. Okay. Om Namah Shivaya. Good afternoon, everybody. Today is our last class for this time. And let's start. Yesterday, we ended up with memory. We had a long list of different objects for meditation. And the last one we have seen yesterday was memory. After Akasha, after space, we got into memory. And we just translated, we didn't discuss it yet. Okay, so this is what we are going to do today. Smaro bhava akashad bhuyaha tasmat yadyapi bhava siran nasmaranto naivate kanchana shrinuyuhu naman viran na vijaniran yada bhavate smareyuhu ata shrinuyuhu ata manviran ata vijaniran smarena vaiputran vijanati smarena pashun smaramupasveti. I will quickly go to the translation again. Sanat Kumara is telling Narada, indeed there is something which is superior to Akasha, superior to space, and this is Smaraha. Smara means memory. Okay, and then he says why it is superior. Tasmat yadyapi bhava siran. Suppose many people gather together, they are sitting together, but nasmarante, but they don't remember anything. They don't have any memory. Naivate kinchana shrinuyuhu na manviran na vijaniran. Then these people, they cannot hear anything, they cannot think about anything, and they cannot know anything. Without memory, nothing works in the mind. Yada bhavate smareyuhu, if they remember, ata shrinuyuhu, ata manviran, ata vijaniran. If they do remember, then they hear, they think, they know everything. So everything depends on memory, and therefore memory is superior. Smarena vaiputran vijanati, smarena pashun. So he says, through memory one can know one's sons. And also one can know one's pashun, one animals, one's cattle. And yesterday I explained this relates to one's wealth. one can know his own wealth. Therefore he says, Smaram upasveti. That was the translation of the mantra. Now, we wanted to speak a little bit about memory and about the mind in general. The mind in general is connected also in a way to the law of karma, and in order to understand how they work, we will discuss a little bit about both. Okay? According to this theory, when a person performs an action, that action creates two things, basically. It creates a samskara, which I'm going to explain very soon. And it is also creating what is called a purva karma. A purva karma means is the seed, the karmic seed, the seed of the action, which is going later on to come back to me as an experience. Okay? This action can be any action on any of the three levels, either physical action, something that I do with my hands, with my feet, with any other way, or it can be verbal action, something that I say, or it can be even mental action, even something I think is also considered to be an action. Okay? Any such an action tends to create these two things. It creates a samskara, karma samskara, and it creates also karma, a purva karma. It creates the seed for future action. Okay? Now, the apurva karma is a mental seed that was created by the action and is lying in the subconscious mind until certain conditions are allowing it to manifest again. And then it comes back in the form of experience. Okay, now I do something. And then after some time, when the conditions are correct, when the conditions are ripened, I am experiencing something which is the result of that action. As a matter of fact, our experiences in this world, as we know them, are nothing but the ripenings of karmas, of actions that we did in the past. Right now, all of us are sitting here in this room because something we did in the past. There are other people here in the ashram, and they are not sitting with us here. Why? According to this model, they are not sitting with us because they don't have the necessary apurva karma. They don't have the necessary karmic seeds that allow them to be sitting here right now. We all have these seeds sharing together, and therefore we are here meeting now. Okay? So the actions I do will come back to me in the form of experience. And the experiences I have are the results of my past actions. But then also, the actions I do create samskaras. What is a samskara? Samskara is translated as a mental impression. Mental impression. What is a mental impression? The way I like to visualize it is like a big sandbox. You know, children like to play in sandbox. Oh, now here we can do it with the snow also, right? You don't need sand. Our sand here is the snow. You go out back on the field there, and the snow is very clean and sparkling white, very beautiful. And then you take one stick and you run the stick in the snow. Now there is a little impression in the snow, right? This is called a samskara. Okay, what is a samskara? A samskara is an impression which is imprinted in our subconscious mind. Okay? this samskara is imprinting the actions that I perform. Okay? Now, our subconscious mind is full of all the samskaras that we have created in this life and in previous lives. Okay? It is, you can imagine that the subconscious mind is like this field which is full of different marks made by sticks. And of course, it affects the field, right? Of course, these samskaras in my subconscious mind are affecting my subconscious mind. We cannot see samskaras. We cannot know them directly. Samskaras are not physical and they are not something you can perceive directly. We know them only through their modifications. We know them only through their actions, what they do, how they affect us. And how do they affect us? Before I tell you how they affect us, I will introduce one more term. Suppose now I go back out and I run the stick again in the same place when I ran it before. Just over the same mark, I now run the stick again. What happens now? Now it is deeper a little bit, right? Suppose with the stick again and again and again and again, I run over the same place. What happens? It becomes a very deep impression, very strong mark in the field, right? When that happens in our subconscious mind, when we repeat the same action again and again and again and again, we create a very deep impression. Many samskaras which are similar. We call it vasana. Okay, the term is vasana. What is vasana? Vasana is a very deep-rooted samskara. Okay? Many samskaras of the same type, they create a very strong impression which we call vasana. The translation for the word vasana, Swami Shivananda translates it as subtle desires. Okay, what is a subtle desire? Two people are facing a similar situation. They are facing a similar situation, but they will choose to act differently. One person will act in one way, another person will act in another way. Why? Why do they choose differently? What is there behind their choice? Is it pure chance? It is just their free will? What they choose to do based on nothing? No. There is a reason why a person is choosing what he's choosing. And the answer is that we have a lot of vasanas that are governing the way we see the world, and they are governing the way we relate to the world, and they are governing the choices we make. When we have vasanas, they create a subtle desire in the mind that causes us to act in a particular way and react to things in a particular way. Suppose I'm a very miserly person. I don't like to share. Okay? And every time I go in the street in India and I see a beggar, I just turn over. I don't want to see them, and then I have no problem, right? So this becomes a strong vasana. And next time when I go in the street and I see another beggar, even without consciously thinking about it, I will just turn away and try to avoid it. Right? It is already deeply imprinted in the mind. Swami Vishnu used to give another example. Suppose you go to a yoga class. One day you go to a yoga class and you are very hungry. You say, now another 2 hours in the yoga class, and after the class I should not eat immediately. Maybe I will just eat something small before. Right? And suddenly you see this Dunkin' Donuts. Say, okay, I don't eat donuts, but I need to put something in my stomach. So you enter and you buy one donut. You eat. You go to the class, you have a good class, it's over. Next time you go to the yoga class, you're not very hungry, but you say, yeah, it will take time, so why not? Last time it really helped me. Let me also. You just pass there, so you say, I'm already here. So you enter and you buy a donut and you eat. That's also no problem, right? Third time, you actually come to the yoga class, you are a little bit full, you just ate not long ago. But you pass by the Dunkin' Donuts, you say, chalo, let's eat another one. Right? Now it is already a habit. It becomes, the first one was a samskara. Now after the third, fourth time, it becomes a vasanas. Now you don't need to be hungry, now it becomes a conditioning. You pass there and you have a conditioning that on the way to yoga class you need to stuff yourself with a donut or two, right? This is the way vasanas are working. Oh, samskaras. Samskaras, as I mentioned, cannot be seen. We cannot see them. But vasanas we can see. Normally, usually, people who are not aware do not see them. A person is passing, is he entering and he's buying donuts. He doesn't think, oh, this is already a vasana and it is a problem. I'm not really hungry. I buy it just because I have the vasana. Usually we don't do it. We just go and buy it. That's why Swami Shivananda is calling it a subtle desire. But we have the capacity to see it. When we contemplate about what we are doing and how we do things, we can see, oh, I have these vasanas. Now it became a problem. Okay? So vasanas are those subtle desires that are shaping our character and habits. And yogis want to work with these vasanas, basically. What we want to do, we want to uproot all the rajasic and tamasic vasanas, all the vasanas of restlessness, greed, anger, etc. These are the rajasic, and all the vasanas of laziness, dullness, etc. These are the tamasic vasanas, and we want to strengthen those vasanas which are sattvic, at least initially, right? How is it? How do we do it? How do you change a vasana? Just like in that field, when we have this very deep impression in the snow, if we want to cancel it, what do we have to do? We have to come and sprinkle some snow over it, right? In this way, when I'm creating the opposite vasana, when I'm producing the opposite samskara, I'm slowly cancelling the old vasana. For example, again, suppose I go in the street and I see this beggar, and I recognize my vasana that tries to avoid him and not give anything because I don't want to share anything I have. And I recognize it, and despite of it, I do effort and I go and I share, I give something. It is like going and sprinkling some snow over this impression. When I do it enough time, what happens one day? It will be neutralized. That vasana will be neutralized. And later on, when I continue to give, I will create the vasana of generosity. You see? By sharing and sharing and sharing, I will create the opposite vasana. I will create a vasana of sharing, of generosity. And then one day I go to the street and I will look for a beggar, whom I can share, whom I can give something. You see? These things take time. They take a lot of time. And that's why in spiritual sadhana we need patience. Always all the masters were talking about patience. We need a lot of patience. Swami Shivananda says, if you are able to change one vasana, one vice in your life, you can change into a virtue. You have done more than enough. Why? Because it took us so many lifetimes to create the bad vasanas, the negative vasanas. We cannot expect to neutralize, to erase them so quickly. So it takes time, and we have to work, and when we need to have patience. And what is memory? Memory is also connected to these samskaras. Samskaras can be pulled by the intellect in the form of memory. Memory is the capacity to bring up samskaras into the conscious mind. This is what memory is. It's like plunging into our storehouse of samskaras. And when you think about it, all our being, all our behaving, everything we do, everything is based on memory. If we didn't have any type of memory, it would have been very, very difficult to live in this world. Actually, it will be impossible. Therefore, Sanat Kumara is telling Narada, memory is superior to Akasha. It's very expensive. Everything depends on memory in this world. And it is not that memory is good or memory is bad. Here it is not a question of quality. It is just that memory is so essential. Therefore, Sanat Kumara tells Narada, worship Brahman as memory. And before I will continue to tell you about this way that the mind is functioning, I want to go to the next section. But before that, we have a little the end of this section. Sayas maram brahmeti upaste yavat smarasya gatam tatra seyata kamacharo bhavati yasmaram brahmeti upaste asti bhagava smarad bhuya iti smarad vava bhuyo asti iti tanme bhagavan bravitu iti trayodasha khandaha. Sayas maram brahmeti upaste, that person who worships Brahman as memory. Yavat smarasya gatam tatra sayata kama charobhavati yasmaram brahmeti upaste. That person who worships Brahman as memory can go as far as memory can go according to his own wish. Asti Bhagava Smarad Bhuya iti. Narada is asking now, sir, is there anything which is superior to memory? Smarad Vava Bhuya Asti iti. Definitely there is something which is superior to memory. Tanme Bhagavan Bravitu iti. Please, sir, tell me what is it. Iti Trayodasha Khandaha. This is the end of the 13th section. Now we are going to section number 14. Asha vava smarad bhuyasi ashedho vaismaro mantra nadhite karmani kurute putramshcha pashumshcha ichchata imam chaloka mamumcha ichchata ashamupasveti. What is the next one? The last but one for us. He says, Asha. Asha vava smarad bhuyaha. That which is superior to memory is Asha. Asha means hope. This is how it is translated, as hope, as desire. I will say also it is, how to say it? Okay, It will come. Okay, so he says hope is superior to memory. Why? Asha idhaha vaismaraha. Because hope is fueling the memory. What is the fuel of the memory? This is hope. Mantrana dhite. And then a person learns the mantra. Once the memory is fueled with hope, then a person is learning the mantras. En karmani kurute, and he is doing actions. Putramscha pashumscha ichchata, then he has a desire for getting things like children and wealth. Imamcha mumcha ichchata, then he wants to get happiness in this world and in the next world. Asham upasveti, therefore you should worship Asha, you should worship hope. Now, I'm going back to our discussion about the mind. What is the fuel? What is the motivating power behind samskaras and behind memory? This is emotion. Emotion is like the power behind thoughts, the power behind our memories, the power behind the samskaras. How come? Think about it. Suppose two people are sitting here and listening to this lecture. One person, just by chance he came here, there was nothing better to do, and it is warm here. So he just, a nice room, warm, and not too much noise, only one guy is speaking. So he is just sitting and listening. Another guy is sitting also in this room, but he is so fascinated by the subject matter. And he's so enthusiastic about spiritual life, and he's so yearning to learn about this knowledge. Both of them are hearing the same, right? Who is going to remember better the subject matter? Of course, the second guy is going to remember. Why? Because these samskaras were invested with a lot of emotion. There is emotion associated with it. Suppose there is a third guy in the room. He doesn't like at all these teachings. He came here to find all the faults with this teaching. That's the reason why he came. He's sitting here with so much hatred, and he just wants to find all the wrong in this. He will remember it at least as good as the second guy. Why? Because it is also invested with emotion. You understand? So it is not only love, only good emotion. Every emotion is a force that makes the samskaras either strong or weak. The stronger the emotion is, the stronger the samskara. And therefore the stronger is our memory. How many of us remember what was served here 2 days ago in breakfast? Raise your hand. We don't remember. Why? Because breakfast 2 days ago was not with so much emotions. It is not something very important. We just do it, right? But suppose there is a person who yesterday, 2 days ago, was the chef. He cooked this meal, and he did it with so much love, and it is the first time he is cooking for so many people, and he is so passionate about it. He will definitely remember what was there 2 days ago in breakfast, right? Why? Because it was connected with a strong emotion. Some people think that in Jnana Yoga, emotions are considered to be bad or unnecessary. This is totally wrong. It is not true. Emotions are very important. You can see they have a very important role. If you want to change your vasanas and you do everything like halfway with half mind, you will not be able to change anything. But when you do something with enthusiasm, when you do something with devotion, when you do something with a lot of love, you are going to create very strong samskaras that will help you very quickly to overcome all the old vasanas that you want to change. That's why Bhakti Yoga is so important. What is Bhakti Yoga? You take all the emotions and you turn them into very strong love. When you do things with love, even a small action can go a very long way. Even a small practice of sadhana can go a very long way. When you do asanas, very regularly you just do it. It is part of your routine and it is now 8 p.m. and until 10 I need to do asanas, I just do it. This is one way. But if you do it and while you do it, you really think about what you're doing and you really bring all your beings into the present state, this practice is going to go a very long way. You see? Therefore, in spiritual life, we have to harness our emotions into our practice. We have to use them in the proper way. We have to learn to use emotions without attachment. You see? We have to learn to develop love which is without attachment. There is a lot of confusion between love and attachment. People don't understand. They think that attachment is love. When we hear in the news about somebody who murdered his girlfriend because he loved her so much and she didn't like him, he didn't love her. That is attachment, it is not love. And people say, how can you say like this, that attachment is the opposite to love? It is very easy to see. You can tell me, love, is it expanding or contracting? What do you think? Expanding. It must be expanding. Love is about expansion. It includes. What about attachment? Is it expanding or contracting? Right? Is there anybody here think that attachment is expanding? Is expansive? No. Attachment is confining. Attachment is contracting. Is just actually attachment is destroying love. If a person can love without attachment, it is the greatest. They say that the greatest manifestation of love on earth is the love of a mother to her child. We all know it, right? The love of a mother to her child is the greatest form of love. But there is one attachment which is still superior. There is one love, which is still superior. This is the love of the teacher, of the guru to his disciple. Why? Not because it is more intense. There is no love which is more intense than the love of the mother to the child. Only because in that case there is no attachment. The guru is not attached to the student. Therefore the love is clear, is clean, is not tainted by attachment. Whereas in the case of the mother, in most cases, as we know, there is a lot of attachment. If a mother could love the child without attachment, that will be so much greater. It is sometimes difficult for people to accept it, to see it. But can you really love for love's sake? You see, attachment is all about me. Love is all about the other person. Right? Can you see it? Attachment is, he is my child, he is my friend, he is my beloved, he is my enemy. It is all my. It is all centered right here. But in love, it is all the beloved. It is all about the beloved. We have to understand what is love. And when love is pure, without any attachment, it becomes all-embracing. You see, a mother can love her child dearly, but it doesn't mean that she cannot love other children. You know, when your love is only for your child, it has, of course, value, but it is limited. But when this love is all-inclusive, how greater it is. Can a mother love all children? Yes. Does it mean that she needs to take care of all children? No. She has a duty towards her child, and she loves the child dearly, but she can love all children. This is very difficult to achieve, of course. But we see saints like Swami Shivananda, how much love he had. Did he love only his disciples? No, his love was all-embracing. His love was complete for all humanity, for all living beings. Swami Vishnudevananda, the same. He had a duty towards his disciples. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't love anybody else. Okay, so this is about hope. So we see here hope in this sense is that motivating power that derives. He says, fueled by hope, a person has a memory. And this is the idea. This hope is that emotion which is entering into it and making it meaningful and powerful. And then everything can follow. Okay? Saya shambrameti upaste ashasya sarve kama samridhyanti amogha ha asya ashisho bhavanti yavat ashasya gatam tatra seta kamacharo bhavati ya asham brahmeti upaste asti bhagava ashaya bhuya iti ashaya vava bhuyo asti iti tanme bhagavan bravitu iti chaturdasha kandaha. Sayasham brahmeti upaste, that person who worships Brahman as Asha, as hope. Ashayasya sarve kamaha samridhyante. All his desires will be fulfilled. Amogha ha asya ashisho bhavanti. That person, he is able to fulfill all his desires without fail. Amogha means without any fail. He says he gets whatever he wants without fail. That's the idea. Yavat ashasya gatam tatra sayata kamacharo bhavati. He can go as far as hope can go, as much as he likes. Asti bhagava ashaya bhuya iti. Sir, is there anything which is superior to asha? Is there anything which is superior to hope? Ashaya bhava bhuyo asti iti. Definitely there is something superior to asha. Tanme bhagavan bravitu iti. Please, sir, tell me what is that? Iti chaturdasha khandaha. This is the end of the 14th chapter. Now we get into the last one for us, and it is the last one in this format. I will explain to you what comes later on after we read this. Okay? Prano bhava ashaya bhuyan yathava arana bhaus samarpita evam asmin prane sarvam samarpitam prana pranena yati, prana pranam dadati, pranaya dadati, pranoha pita, prano mata, prano bhrata, pranasvasa, prana acharyaha, prano brahmanaha. What is superior to Asha? What is superior to hope? Sanat Kumara says, Pranaha Vava Ashayaha Bhuyan. Prana is superior to hope. What is prana? We translate prana as life force. Now he says, he's giving a very nice analogy. Yatava ara nabhav samarpita. Just as all the spokes are connected to the hub. Think about a wheel, okay, a bicycle wheel. And there are lots of spokes. You know, spoke is the, I don't know how to say it in German. Yeah. There are lots of spokes and they are all connected to the center, nabha. Nabha means the center. They are all connected to the center and they're supporting the wheel. So he says, Yatava ara nabhav samarpita, evam asmin prane sarvam samarpitam. In this same way, everything, sarvam, is connected to prana. Prana is the center and everything comes out of prana. This is a very beautiful analogy. Prana pranena yati. He says, prana works through its own power. Prana pranena yanti. Yanti means it goes. Prana goes to prana. Where does prana get the power to act? Through prana itself. Okay? In the Chandogya Upanishad, it says in the second mantra, the teacher is telling the student, Pranoha prana, he or Brahman is the prana of the prana, is the life force of the life force. So here also he says, prana pranena yati. Prana is motivated or is getting its own power from prana itself. Prana pranam dadati, pranaya dadati. Prana is giving to prana. What is giving to prana? Prana. So prana is giving prana to prana. That's what he says. Yeah, prana pranam dadati, pranaya dadati. Prana is giving prana to prana. The idea is that everything is prana. Prana is all embracing. Praneha pita. Prana indeed is the father. Prano mata. Prana is the mother. Prano brata. Prana is the brother. Pranasvasa. Prana is the sister. Prana acharyaha. Prana is the teacher. Prane brahmanaha. Prana is the Brahmin. Brahmin is related to the priest, the caste of the priest, or sometimes it is related to self-realized beings. Okay, depends on the context. So this is the translation of this mantra. Basically, after this, nowadays not asking anymore, is there anything higher than this? This is the last one. Later on, the Upanishad is changing a little bit the format, and it is going in a different form. We are not reaching the end of the chapter, just because of time. And next time that we have the chance, we will continue from there. Okay, we are leaving some karmic depth between us, and I will have to come and you will have to come, and we will continue to study this chapter because it is very, very beautiful. Even what is coming later on is very inspiring, very interesting. But so far, we could learn so much, as you have seen, by all these different aspects to which Narada is being prompted to worship Brahman. The idea is that there is no one thing which is the ultimate thing and that is the truth. Here we see so many things and each one of them is hiding different aspect of reality, different aspect of the truth. And now we are reaching to Prana. What is Prana? Prana is the life force. Prana is the power behind every movement in the universe. When you see the leaves flutter in the wind, this is the work of Prana. The blood moving in our vessels, this is the work of Prana. Everywhere you see power, everywhere you see energy, everywhere you see movement, is the work of this Prana. Okay? But Prana cannot be seen directly. We can see only the works of Prana. We can deduct, we can understand Prana from the things that are affected by Prana. Just as when we see the leaves fluttering, we know that there is wind. You cannot see the wind, right? The wind is not visible. You cannot see the wind. But when you see the trees are moving, you know, oh, there must be wind. In the same way, we see movement in the universe and we realize there is a force behind it. And that force, the unified or the generic force, which is behind every movement in the universe, is being called Prana. And ultimately, this is the essence of everything. Everything is active through Prana. Also, within each and every one of us, there is Prana in different forms. As I said, the movement of the blood in the vessels, the movement of the current in the nerves, and all these different movements within the cell and outside the cells, and all this is just the work of Prana in the body. And then there is another form of Prana which is also moving the thoughts in the mind. You see, the thoughts are also moving, is it not? The thought appears, it exists for a while and it disappears. There must be some force behind its movement. That force is also called Prana. And don't think about Prana like some particles that are moving in the body or like something that is flowing. It is a good way to think about it is like a current in the ocean. A current in the ocean is just a movement of water. There is no any other substance or material that is moving there. It is just water, but this water has a direction. It has a force, right? This is what Prana is. Prana has a direction, has a force. Every movement that we see, it's not that Prana is a very subtle matter that is moving in. No. Prana is not matter. It is only energy. So within this physical body, there is also a lot of movement of Prana in different directions. The grossest manifestation of Prana in the physical body is the movement of the breath. We are breathing in, we are breathing out, right? This is very gross, very physical. The subtlemost form of Prana, movement in the body, in the individual, is the movement of thoughts. This is also a movement. It is also governed by Prana, but it is very subtle. In yoga, we learn, particularly in Raja Yoga, we learn that it is very difficult to control the flow of the thoughts. You know, if you want to control the flow of the thoughts, you have to control the prana, because the prana is that which is moving the thoughts. Is it not? So you need to control the prana. How to control the prana? It's very difficult. You know, Arjuna, in the Bhagavad Gita, he tells Krishna, Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadridham Tanyaham nigraham anyeva yoriva sudushkaram. Arjuna is complaining. He says, Krishna, you tell me to control the mind, but it is impossible. The mind is so strong and turbulent and unyielding, and I deem it as difficult to control the wind, to control the mind. It is so, can anybody control the wind? No. Today with all our advanced technology, we are not able to control the wind. Arjuna says to control the mind is that much difficult. Therefore, in Hatha Yoga, there is a very special technique which we all know. We call it pranayama. What is pranayama? The yogi says to control the mind directly is very difficult. Because the thoughts, the mind are so subtle. It is very difficult to deal with it directly. But since the prana is that which is moving both the thoughts and the breath, and since the breath is much more physical, much more gross and easier to control, by controlling the breath, we are affecting the prana, and by affecting the prana, we are also affecting the thoughts. So if we are able to control the breath, that will bring control over the prana, and control over the prana will ultimately bring control over the mind. This is the connection between the exercise of pranayama and control of the mind. And we all know it, right? When you do a good session of pranayama, after that the mind is still. The mind is calm. How is it? You just inhale, retain, exhale. Or that's all you do. What it has to do with the mind? But it has everything to do with the mind. Because the control of the breath controls the prana. And control of the prana in its turn controls the thoughts. This is the connection, and this is why Hatha Yogis practice pranayama. Okay? Anyway, here Sanat Kumara is telling Narada that prana is superior to asha, is superior to hope, because everything is connected to prana. Everything is connected to prana, just as all the spokes in the wheel are connected to the hub. Okay? In that sense, you can see everywhere in the universe, everything is invested in prana. And then he gives some example. Okay, we don't have much time, I will do it quickly. Sayadi pitaram va mataram va brattaram va svasaram va charyam va brahmanam va kinchit brisham eva pratyaha dhiktva mastvi eva enamahuhu pitriha vaitvamasi matriha vaitvamasi bhratriha vaitvamasi svasriha vaitvamasi acharyaha vaitvamasi brahmanaha vaitvamasi iti atha yadi apyeanutkranti pranan chulena samasam vyatishandahena eva enam bruyuhu pitriha siti na matriha siti na bhratriha siti na svasriha siti na acharyaha siti na brahmana siti pranahi eva etani sarvani bhavanti. Okay, I will not go just translating word by word, because we don't have time, but just basically what he says, just suppose you are saying something bad about your mother, you are talking with disrespect and saying something nasty about your father or your mother, your brother, your sister, and all this, then people say, you kill them. That's what the mantra here say. They say as if you kill them. You are hurting them, you are killing them. But suppose the prana left them. Suppose when he says the prana left them, it means suppose they died. Okay, suppose your mother, your father, or any one of these passed away. And then you come and with a trishul, with a trident, you pierce them, you pierce their body, and you burn them. This is what they do, in the Hindu tradition. When a person dies, they burn them in the pyre and they also pierce the body. So he says if you do that after the prana left them, nobody will say you killed them. Nobody says you have done any wrong. Actually, they will say you have done very well. So the difference between the two is whether the prana is there or the prana is not there. When the prana is there, even if you just say something improper, people will say you killed them. But after the prana left, you can even cut them or burn them or do all this and nobody will say that you killed them. That is to show that prana is so important. Prana is everything. Prana is the life force. When prana departs, there is no life. Prana is equal to life. And therefore, he says, you should worship Brahman as prana. Okay, so this is the end for our course. Basically, people want to know, so what is the last one? Where does it end? Okay, the answer is that this is not the important thing here. The important thing is that the process of study, on every step we study something. But just for you to go home and feel, okay, at least I know where it ends, I will tell you that the last thing that Sanat Kumara is telling Narada, he is talking about Bhuma. Bhuma means the absolute, that which is the absolute vastness. Bhuma means vast, big. That which is the ultimate absolute vastness, and this is Brahman basically. That which includes within it everything else. That which has nothing external to it. Everything is within it. Everything is included in it. This is called Bhuma, and this is the absolute, and this is the ultimate truth. Okay? But how he reaches there, we will see in our next course.
How many are there?
There are altogether, I think, 20 something. Let me see. I wrote, no, I don't know. Now it is going in a different form. It is not anymore, is there anything superior? And this is changing, and now he is giving a chain of, actually now Narada is not asking any more questions. It is now Sanat Kumara is just telling him, if you do this, then this happens. If you do this happens. If you do this. Ultimately he reaches Bhuma. Okay? But our time is up, so we are going to conclude here. I want to thank you so much for coming and attending this course. You are very good students, and it was very nice to teach you. And I hope to see all of you again soon. Okay, we will now do a short meditation and final mantras and conclude. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma mritam gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Om Freedom. Om Bolo Shri Sadgurudev Swami Shivananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Sadgurudev Swami Vishadavananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Tat Sat.